and everything in between. The Brad Weisman Show. And now, your host, Brad Weisman.
All right, we are back in the studio. Thanks so much for coming back to watch the show. We really appreciate that. I have a guy that I haven't seen in a very long time that is in the studio here with me. He does a lot of different things. He's a DJ. He's a voiceover. He does weddings. He does radio stuff. I mean, he's all over the place. And I've known him for probably, I'm going to say 30 years. And he can tell me if I'm wrong or not. But we have Hamilton Newton in the studio here. I feel kind of intimidating when I'm on a microphone near you.
I have no need to feel intimidated.
Yeah, because I mean, you are the microphone guy.
One of them.
You really are. You know, I started really digging into what you're doing now, and I was blown away. Absolutely blown away. I've known you for a really long time. We've met each other, I think, through Scotty Mann.
Yes.
Pretty sure, back in the day.
Shout out to Scotty Mann.
Yeah. I think we all worked in the mall at one point.
You worked at Orange Julius.
Yes, I did work at Orange Julius. Yes. Okay, we got to cut that out of the show. No, just kidding. No, but I did. I worked at Orange Julius, and then I also worked with Scotty at Chess King. Do you remember Chess King?
I worked there, too.
You did, too? Yes. You folded sweaters?
Yes, I did.
There was the most frustrating thing in the world was when somebody came in to try on a sweater and they'd just throw it on the floor or throw it on the counter and you had to go back and refold them, put them back in. Oh my God, those are the days.
It was, man.
Yeah, Orange Julius was good too.
It was.
That was a good drink. So thanks for coming in today.
Man, thanks for having me, and I'm just super proud of you, man, and everything that you've accomplished over the years. You know, I drive by and I see you on the billboards. I'm like, man, that's my guy right there.
Oh, that's
you know
funny.
what I mean? It's just so beautiful to watch, man, and see how you have evolved over the years, man. So you've inspired me in many ways, not even knowing so. And congratulations to you on all your success.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Gosh, I should be saying that back to you for sure, because I'll tell you, I know you've been through a lot of things in your life.
I have.
And I've seen that, you know, whether it was on social media or hearing it from Scotty or hearing it from different people. You know, I want to get into your career and what you're doing now because you're doing a lot of cool stuff. But let's go back a little bit and talk about how you got to where you are right now, because you're doing some amazing things. Let's talk about the challenges, you know, just to show people that, you know, when people see people that are successful, they always think that their life was always that. You know what I mean? They always look and they go, okay, this was their life. How do they get, you know, they must have always been like this. They had a silver spoon in their mouth, or they've been guided in the right way their whole life. Let's talk about that. Where did you start?
Well, excuse me. So it all started with, I was born in Reading, in the 6th Ward, 3rd and Walnut. I was raised by my grandmother. I have 3 brothers from my mother, and me and my brothers, we all have different fathers.
Okay.
My mother was a heroin addict while she was carrying me. So my childhood trauma started while I was in the womb of my mother, according to my therapist, which we revealed, you know, through the therapy that I've taken over the years. And, once I was here and born, and my brothers were born, and I was old enough to just kind of figure out what was going on, me and my brothers, we all have different fathers.
Yeah.
So with that being said, my brothers knew their dad. I never knew my dad.
Oh, wow.
So there was always this void inside of me, not knowing who I was, where I came from, or even why I was here.
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to me, later on, you know, I came to find out, you know, at the time, my mother, you know, she was into drugs and, you know, living that life and all that stuff like that. And please understand, you know, what I share about my mother, I love my mother to life.
Yeah.
But it's part of my story, and I share it, and she would want me to share it.
Yeah. Is she still around?
She is not.
Okay.
So my mother was a heroin addict, and she was dating a woman at the time. And what happened was her and this woman got into a disagreement, if you will. So my mother ended up hooking up with this woman's brother. Oh. And that's my father.
Oh, wow.
So that's, wow. I'm the product of a scorned jump off, if you will. You know, I can laugh about it now.
Wow.
It is what it is. And so I grew up angry, you know, I grew up with this young boy with mommy issues. Yeah. Young man.
Angry at your mother?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, and my father, because he left, you know. So yeah, that's how the early trauma started. And then as I grew older, my mother was in and out of jail and out of prison. She then got an apartment, 1492 Perkiomen Avenue to be exact. Why do I remember that address?
Yeah.
Because those were some of the darkest times in my life. I was locked in an attic for days at a time with my brothers, watching Fat Albert, sometimes not eating, not bathing, not taking a bath, watching people sticking needles in their arms, watching two women sleeping together, two men sleeping together. I smoked my first joint when I was 8 years old. One of my mom's former friends put a joint in my mouth, and that's when I first tried reefer, as they called it back in the day.
Back in the day, yeah.
So those were some of the darkest times of my life. And then my mother had gotten locked up again. She went to Muncie State Correctional Institution, the state prison.
Yeah.
And then my grandmother then made the decision that let me put these boys in Milton Hershey. So then we went to Milton Hershey School.
Which is supposed to be a really good school.
Very good school.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal school.
Yeah.
Went there from 5th grade to 9th grade. And during that time, I always was the guy that always wanted to stay busy because I did not want to face what was really going on inside of me. I did not want to look in the mirror.
Yeah.
I always stayed busy. I got involved in everything. I ran track. I played football. I tried out for the swim team. And they say black people can't swim. I know you.
I was going to say that, but it's better coming from you.
I can swim though. I can swim.
You can. That's really good.
All 4 strokes, bro.
Oh my goodness, that's such a farce.
Yeah. You tell him, Hamilton. You tell him.
You tell him. Good for you, man.
So yes.
So this is all to stay away from looking in the mirror, to really looking at where you're from or what your life is going, what's going on in your life.
Yeah. And you know, not having that relationship with my mother or father, not getting those visits, those I'm proud of you, those hugs.
Yeah.
You know, not showing up to football games and track meets and all that stuff like that. All the while, my brothers having relationships with their fathers.
Right.
Okay. Not understanding why I looked the way I looked, why I walked the way I walked, why my head was bigger than my brother's heads.
That's a
you know
problem.
what I mean? Yeah. Like, you know, and they would always pick on me, man. You got a big head. I'm like, well, yeah, I know that. It is what it is.
Yeah. Did you ever see your dad or meet your dad?
I'm going to get to that.
Yeah.
So I leave Milton Hershey. All the while I'm in Milton Hershey, I started getting involved in hip hop culture. There's different elements of hip hop culture. There's MCing, which is rapping, b-boying, DJing, graffiti, and breakdancing. So I started off as a breakdancer.
Okay.
I think you know.
I think I remember seeing you do that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right. And then I started to get into rapping and beatboxing.
Yep.
And then I came home from Milton Hershey. I begged my grandmother to take me out of Milton Hershey because I said I had enough. I'm done. I'm over it.
Yeah, right.
Take me out. I want to go to regular school and get back with some of my older friends. And plus, my mom was coming home from prison soon.
Oh.
So I wanted to be home and I wanted to get to know my mom.
Sure.
Get out of Milton Hershey. My mom comes home. She takes me to Philly to Fairmount Park. Jazzy Jeff is DJing.
Oh, wow.
And that's when my life changed.
Yeah, Jazzy Jeff.
And I felt like he was DJing for me. I said, that is what I want to do.
Interesting.
And my grandmother brought me.
How old were you there?
I was 15.
So 15, you had the realization that you wanted to do what you're doing right now.
I wanted a piece of it. Yep. So my grandmother took me to Radio Shack. You remember Radio Shack?
Yeah, Radio Shack.
Yes.
You've got questions, we've got answers. Do you remember that?
Questions, we've got answers.
That's it.
She took me there, got me 2 belt-driven turntables, a stereo mixer. That's what it said on it. Stereo mixer.
Unbelievable.
No crossfader, all up and downs. And I self-taught myself how to DJ. I had 4 records.
That's
2
crazy.
copies of Run DMC Raising Hell, New Editions, A Little Bit of Love, and LL Cool J's Radio. Those were the 4 records that I started with.
That's crazy.
And I taught myself how to DJ. And I would listen. I would go to under 21 clubs like Showbiz Pizza from back in the day.
Gosh, yes. Showbiz, yes.
You remember that?
Is it over Fifth Street Highway?
Yeah.
Was it over there? Yes.
I used to break dance over there.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Those are the days.
Yeah, man. So, you know, a little Showbiz Pizza.
Yeah.
I would watch the DJ. Where other people would, you know, try to get their dance on with the girls, I was going to watch and listen to the DJ, and I would study.
Right.
There was no social media, Instagram, none of that.
Right.
So I would show up and study the
How
DJ.
to do it. Yeah.
I would listen to tapes. I would listen to radio shows.
Tapes. By the way, if you're listening to this show and you're younger, a tape would have been a cassette tape, maybe?
Correct.
Yeah, not 8-track. We're not that old.
Well.
I do remember 8-track, don't get me wrong. Okay, but the cassette tape was something we used to listen to music on, yeah. So you would listen to those things. Did you make mixtapes?
Of course.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. I started making mixtapes. I started having house parties while my grandmother went to work because my grandmother worked second shift at Med Ed. She
Very
was a
convenient.
custodian.
Yes.
So I would get off of school and they'd be like, yo, we going over to H's crib, you know, and we would go down the street. It was a bar called the Rendezvous. We'd holler at an old head, give him, you know, $5, $10. He'd get us a couple 40s of Old English, Old 45. Gosh. Run them 40s up to the...
In a paper bag.
In a paper bag, yes.
In a paper bag, of course.
Run them up to the attic, and I would spin records, and a couple guys would get on the mic, and girls would come over, and, you know, we'd party and conduct business, so we thought.
Yes.
And you know, and everybody would be gone, crib would be clean. By the time my grandmom got off of work, we'd be in bed, and everything was good.
You transitioned over very quickly. That's amazing.
That's where the drinking started.
That's where it started.
And that's when I started to realize people really like me when I have these headphones on and I'm spinning these records.
Yes.
So it was at that moment I started to say, you know what? This is what I want to do. Like, I'm not happy unless I'm doing this and this.
Oh.
Because when I'm doing this, I do this better.
All right. You thought so.
So I thought.
So you thought.
It's giving me an edge and my confidence is better. And I don't have to think about mom. I don't have to think about my father. I don't have to think about any of that stuff.
Yes.
You know.
So that just kept getting...
It started progressively getting worse, okay? So my mother comes home from prison. I start getting to know my mother, and she completely changed her life. She got saved. There was a prison ministry that took the word of God into the prison called Freedom Gate.
Yeah.
And my mother got saved in prison. She came home. She got a job.
Wow.
She became the member of a church. She sang in the choir.
Wow.
She was the woman that I prayed for and hoped for. I said, oh my goodness, I finally have my mom.
Yeah.
And I'm just now getting to know my mom at the age of 15, 16.
Wow.
Okay. All the while I'm still DJing, running track in high school, you know.
Yeah.
Getting along with the ladies. And then the bomb was dropped on me that my mother was HIV positive.
Oh, no.
Because if you remember, I told you she used heroin.
Yes.
So
bad needle.
Back then, there was no there was no help or medication for the hood, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, those who had the money and the upper echelon and the resources.
Yeah.
Like Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
Because Magic Johnson and my mom found out they had AIDS right around the same time.
Wow, isn't that something?
Just putting that out there.
Yeah, isn't that something?
Okay. So once that happened, once we found out, the virus progressed very quickly.
Yeah.
It's like I woke up one day and half of her was gone.
Oh, boy.
I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
She looked like a completely in a matter of 24 hours, not 24 hours after I found out.
Yeah, yeah.
But, you know, we were just kind of rocking with it or whatever. And then one day we woke up and it was like, uh-oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's getting real. And it just went really quickly.
Yeah.
And when my mother passed away, Brad, it was at that moment where I became very angry. I went into a dark place, and my belief of God and any higher power went out the window.
Yeah.
I looked up and I said, who are you? How dare you? My mother changed her life.
Yeah.
She gave her life to you, and you're going to take her from me?
Yeah. Amazing.
And it hurt, man.
Yeah, yeah.
It hurt. And sometimes it still hurts.
Yeah.
You know? But it was at that moment I became angry, and I didn't care. And this is right around when I met you.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's crazy.
When I met you, I was around 17, 18 years old.
Yeah, that's about right.
And I became a dad at 17. I had my first child at 17.
Okay.
My daughter Jasmine was born, and my mother was here.
Oh, wow.
When so yeah, there's pictures with my
that's
daughter
cool.
and my mom, and my daughter looks exactly like my mom. When people see my daughter, they're like,
yeah, right.
She looks just like your mom.
Wow. So that was when we met, when you were going through all that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, my mother had passed away when I met Scotty Man and I met you. Yeah, my mother was on her way out, and Scotty remembers. Scotty met my mother. Scotty met my mother.
Amazing.
Scotty met my grandmother, and That's when.
So did the drinking then start picking up more?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The drinking, the womanizing. It was all about me. I didn't want nobody to know who I was. I didn't want nobody to know what I was really feeling. Mm-hmm. And as far as women were concerned, it was all about what I can get from you, what I can take from you, and that is it.
Wow.
I didn't care. Even though I had a daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, not thinking that she's going to be a woman like that someday, or whatever, be in that situation. Yeah.
Didn't care.
Yeah. So when was rock bottom?
Oh, well.
Or was there a couple times?
There were a few times. I don't want to say there were a few times because there was only one rock bottom, but leading up to that, I've had DUIs after DUI after DUI. You'll see my mugshots on arrest.com if you guys want to pull that up and flash it. Feel free to do so.
No, we're not going to use that one. You sent better pictures than that to me.
Okay, well, I like to share the struggle because people need to see the struggle.
I agree.
Because they think that, I just woke up one day and I became this successful voiceover artist and DJ without knowing the pain that I had to go through to get to where I'm at. But I had several DUIs. I've went to rehab in Florida. I got a radio job in Tampa, Florida. I got a radio job in Charleston, South Carolina. And I attempted suicide.
Oh my gosh. So all those things. Now, all those jobs that you talk about, the DJ jobs, did you move on from those because of alcohol, or did you lose those jobs because of alcohol, or because of abuse?
Yes. Yeah. So the job in South Carolina, that station flipped formats, so that had nothing to do with me.
Okay.
And then I went to another station in the market. Somebody from Florida heard me, reached out to his frat brother at the other station, said, "Who's this H Vidal guy?" Yeah. Connected the dots, called me up, said, "Hey, can you send me an air check, aka a demo?" I sent him the demo, drove down to Tampa after DJing a club in South Carolina till 3:00 in the morning, drunk.
Oh, gosh.
Drove to Tampa for after the club, drunk, drove right to the station. Program director put me on the air that night. Told me he was going to put me on the air the next day, but he's like, "No, I'm going to put you on tonight. You down?" Now I could have put my diva hat on and said, "Well, I'm supposed to check into my hotel room and audition tomorrow." Right.
Now you're like, "Oh, sure, let's do it now."
I said, "Let's go."
Oh boy.
Let's go. So every radio station has what's known as a positioning statement, and on the wall was the logo of the radio station and their positioning statement, which was 95.7 The Beat, Tampa Bay's #1 station for hip hop and R&B.
Okay, cool.
So Radio 101, you always say that positioner before you crack the mic. At some point when you crack the mic, that positioner has to be said.
Right.
So I stared at it, I memorized it, got it, went in the bathroom, looked in the mirror. Tampa Bay's #1 station for hip hop and R&B, 95.7 The Beat. It's your boy DJ H Vidal. What up? It's 95.7 The Beat, Tampa Bay's #1 station for hip hop and R&B.
Jeez.
So I would memorize it. So by the time I got on that mic, nailed it. I put callers on, had to learn the board, which I stumbled a few times.
Yeah.
I had an intern show me how to run that board.
Yep.
Which that same intern turned out to be one of the #1 radio personalities in New York. I caught up with her a couple years ago on social media.
Get out of here.
Yeah, she's chilling with like Janet Jackson. I'm like, look at this.
Oh my gosh.
So all of you guys out there right now, if you have an intern that's working with you, be nice to your intern because you never know.
Never know where they end up.
The intern, the janitor, the just be nice to everybody.
So true.
So yeah, I ended up getting that job.
Cool.
And then I stayed there for about 2 years, moved my wife and my kids down there at the time, and was just running amok, man.
Yeah.
Drinking, staying out all night, not coming home, going to strip clubs. There's strip clubs everywhere in Tampa.
Yeah. Wow.
And I ended up losing my job because the station got tired. I was a liability. I wasn't an asset.
Absolutely.
So they fired me. A week later, my wife at the time said, "Listen, you got to make a decision. It's either the lifestyle or your family."
Yeah.
And me being the a-hole that I was like, well, if it wasn't for this lifestyle, you wouldn't be driving that brand new truck and you wouldn't have this townhouse with the spiral staircase and blah, 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 blah. And the kids wouldn't be going to private school and just going on and on and on and on and on. And she was like, "Send me back to Reading," because I didn't even want to leave. Send me back.
Wow.
So I packed her and my kids up, had a daughter just born at the time. She was 3 months.
And you packed them up and sent them back to Reading.
She wanted to go.
Oh, wow.
And I begged her. I said, "Just stay. I'll move out. I'll pay the rent. Just don't take my kids from me." This is how selfish I was, bro.
Yeah. Wow.
Just selfish and self-centered, man.
Yeah.
And
so what changed all that? Like, how do you get to, what? How did that change?
So how it changed was, let me just say this. That was one of the worst days of my life. The look on my oldest son's face.
While they're driving away?
While I was driving away and I dropped him off at Tampa International. He was 9 at the time.
Oh, my God.
And I remember the look he gave me to this day.
Wow.
Just gut-wrenching.
Yeah, that'd be tough. I don't know if I could do that.
And then I went home to an empty house. And then from there, I lost my job. I had no family. And then I got a phone call from Bubba Sparks. You remember Bubba Sparks?
No.
He has a song called Booty, 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 Rockin' Everywhere. Booty, booty,
yeah. I know that.
Okay, so he calls me, and he, because in radio, you meet a lot of people.
Yep.
He said, H Vidal, I need a DJ. I heard you lost your job. You want to go on the road with me? Absolutely.
Oh, boy. This doesn't sound good.
So,
on the road.
So now I'm on tour with Bubba Sparks, and I'm collecting unemployment, and I'm DJing because I'm making more money than I was making at the radio station.
Yeah.
I'm coming home to an empty house.
Oh, man.
Okay.
This is not a recipe that you want, right?
You
This
can't
is not
tell
good.
me nothing, right?
Oh.
And it was at that moment when I started touring with Bubba Sparks, that's when I tried cocaine for the first time.
Oh.
And that is when my life forever changed.
Yeah.
Because I always said to myself, I will never do any hard drugs because I watched my mother do hard drugs. In my mind, hard drugs was anything in a powder form.
Yep.
That's hard drugs.
Yep.
Heroin,
Absolutely.
crack,
Yep.
cocaine. I'll drink, I'll smoke a little weed, might pop a pill here and there.
Right.
That's as far as it went.
Yep.
But I always told myself, if I ever did any hard drugs, I knew for a fact I was going to be jacked up.
Yeah.
And when I took that first little bump, as they called it,
Yep. That was it.
it was just a natural progression. So I sat out my 6-month non-compete with the radio station. There was another radio station, Tampa Bay's party station, Wild 94.1.
Their competition.
Party station.
Party station. Just what you needed. Oh, gosh. A lot of bumping there.
Well, there was also a Mexican co-host named Paco, and his cocaine was in abundance.
Oh.
I knew this going in.
Oh, geez.
I got a phone call from the program director, Orlando Davis. Big shout out to Orlando. And he said, H Vidal, you want a job? Your non-compete's up. Come on over. H Vidal and the Nut House was the name of the show.
Oh, my gosh.
Very
That
proper.
is funny. That's funny. Just what you needed.
Yes.
Yeah, you needed a nut house. Yes.
More money, less work, cocaine right there as I needed it.
Oh, my gosh.
I met a new girl. She was younger than me, Colombian, beautiful woman.
Jeez.
And the cocaine use just got worse, all the way to the point where I went to this club one night and I was with the woman at the time, and she was pregnant. I got her pregnant.
Okay.
And at this time, it was no secret that I was using this cocaine, and I was just out of control.
Wow.
It was Father's Day weekend now. This is the 3rd year that I hadn't seen my kids. So the guilt, the shame.
3rd year.
3rd year. So the guilt, the shame, the remorse, 3 Christmases, 3 birthdays, 3 Father Days, I haven't seen my kids.
Wow.
Any of them. Okay?
Wow. Talk about you're selfish is right.
Selfish and just running from everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just don't want to deal with it.
yeah.
Mind
That's
you,
amazing.
I'm still married too.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy.
And I'm still married legally. Okay?
Wow.
Yeah. And Scotty was talking to me around this time, because this is right around when Scotty was getting married, and he invited me to his wedding, and I didn't show up. And we didn't speak for the longest time, because at that time I was heavily in my addiction.
Oh, yeah.
So
was it cocaine more than alcohol, or alcohol more than cocaine? Doesn't matter. But I mean, or is it one of those things where you're drinking all night and then you have?
It started as alcohol more than cocaine, and then at the end, it was cocaine main course, alcohol appetizer.
Wow.
Okay, so I went from 20 bag a week to a half ounce.
Oh
a
my
week.
gosh. Jeez. You're lucky you're alive.
I almost died several times. So I went to this club. I DJ'd. I promised my lady at the time I'm not going to drink, because it was Father's Day weekend and we had plans. We were going to go to the beach with her family and, our new baby that she was carrying, and I'm going to behave.
Yeah.
I'm not going to drink. I promise. What do you think happened?
You drank.
I drank. Not only did I drink, but I texted my guy, bring me one. He brought me one. He brought me 2. I DJ'd, killed it. Left the club, went to the After Hours Club.
Oh, no.
Because there's lots of those in Tampa.
Yep.
It's called the Groovy Mule, this place.
Okay. It's a good name.
Yes.
Good name. Good
Yes.
name. Sounds fun.
Yes. It was groovy.
Yeah.
And I'm in there doing my thing. It's like 5:30 in the morning. Sun's starting to come up. Bouncer runs up. H Vidal, your woman's here. She runs up on me. House coat on, slippers, pregnant. Smacks me in the face, takes my phone. And it was at that moment, I didn't want to live anymore.
Oh, wow.
I was like, man, I blew it. I blew it. I got in my van. I popped 2 Xanax after being on cocaine.
Oh.
If you know anything about cocaine and Xanax,
Not good.
it's lethal.
Not a good combination.
I didn't care. I wanted to die. I fell asleep at the wheel. I hit a telephone pole. Airbag came out. Cops came. And by the grace of God, I didn't get tested, breathalyzed.
Oh, wow.
Cop let me go.
Holy. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Brandon Moyer of Made to Be Clean Cleaning Services. They use low-toxic cleaning solutions to make your home or office clean and healthy. Made to Be Clean, your hive, our purpose. 484-509-7197.
And I had drugs on me.
Oh, my gosh.
So I walked home,
Yep.
threw all my stuff in a bag, had another cell phone at home, called up a young lady who I used to party with, if you will. She lived in Bradenton, which was across the bridge.
I know where Bradenton is.
She came, picked me up, loaded up on some drugs.
Oh, my gosh.
And my job was to kill myself while I was with her. I didn't call the radio station. I just disappeared.
Yeah.
Nobody knew where I was.
Wow.
I wanted to die. My mom's gone. I never met my father. I haven't seen my kids in 3 years. And I just blew probably one of the best relationships at the time that I thought in my life. And I'm probably not going to see my daughter. I'm a straight F up.
Yeah.
I just wanted to die. And then what happened was the young lady called my girl at the time and said, yo, you need to come get him.
Right.
Come get him. Like, he's wilding out. She came and got me, knocked on the door, took me back to the house. She's like, yo, you got to get some help. Here's the phone number. Call this rehab. I called the rehab. They did an assessment over the phone. It was on a Friday. And they was like, well, when are you looking to come in? I said, I need to come now. It's like, sadly, we don't do intakes on Fridays.
Oh, geez, you got to be kidding me.
I said, so
What kind of a recovery place says that? Isn't that the day you would need it?
I begged them. They said, look, we know you're probably going to use. I said, you're damn right I'm going to use.
Oh, my gosh,
They
that's
said,
crazy.
if you use, just make sure you don't do any opioids because you have to detox from that before you come in.
This place had rules. Rules before you even get in there. What the heck? That's crazy.
So obviously, I did the cocaine and I did some opioids. I did the exact opposite. And I went in, took my urine. It was like, you got to come back in 3 days until that's all out of your system. Came back in 3 days. I did 30 days at Turning Point in Tampa. And that's when that's when the foundation of recovery started for me.
Yeah.
That's when the spirituality came in. Yeah. That's when the forgiveness for my mother and my father started happening because there were several spiritual awakening stories that happened while I was in rehab.
Sure.
That really brought it to light. And not only that, but I got to sit down with a therapist and just peel back that onion and just unpack. And I got to be around people that were just like me. Mm-hmm. I was like, wow.
Misery likes company.
Interesting. So I'm not unique. Like, I'm not unique. I sat in rooms and listened to other men and women who came up just like I did.
Yeah.
Who had the same feelings and saw through the same lenses just like I did.
Yeah.
And it was a game changer for me,
Now, so did you go back after that? Did you relapse?
So
for some reason, I'm thinking that you did.
So yes, I did. So I finished the program. I left there, put on all kinds of weight because that's what happens when you go to rehab. Mm-hmm. And when I got out of rehab and I got back with the young lady I was with, our daughter was born. Everything was cool. But the radio stuff was gone. It was off the table. I had to get a regular job.
Well, because you can't be around those people anymore, right?
Couldn't DJ. That was not good for my early recovery.
Right.
So I had to be Hamilton. I can't be H Vidal anymore.
Right.
I had to be Hamilton. And the woman I was with didn't fall in love with Hamilton.
She fell in love with H Vidal. Yeah. Got it.
So we went our separate ways. I bought a round trip ticket to come home. In 2009, had a Thanksgiving Eve gig at the Chill Lounge, which is now known as
That's when I saw you.
Yes.
That's the last time I saw you.
Yes.
Because when you were there at Chill Lounge, you were outside. You had quit drinking and had been through all that.
I was sober.
Yes, you were sober at that time.
I was sober. I was about a year and a half sober.
We had that conversation outside.
Yes.
Yes, that's the last time I saw you.
Yes, sir. So I brought a round trip ticket, came home, saw everybody, reunited with my kids, saw my daughter, saw my ex. Well, she was still my wife at the time.
Yeah.
And then DJ'd, and then the following day, my wife at the time was like, hey, daughter has a doctor's appointment. You want to come along with? I said, absolutely. I would love to go. So I went to her house in West Reading, went inside, walked out of the house holding my daughter's hand. Up pulls a Pennsylvania State Constable. Pulls out his badge. Hamilton Newton. Yes? We've been looking for you.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
What do you mean you've been looking for me? So before I moved to Charleston, South Carolina, I owned a record store next to the Ugly Oyster.
Oh,
On
okay.
6th and Cherry.
Yes.
And it was called H Vidal's Beach Street Records and Tapes. So I had the records, the tapes, the CDs, the incense, the oils. I was that guy.
Okay. Yep.
Okay? Couldn't tell me nothing, right? Because it was my store. This is, I'm doing my thing.
Right.
And I operated my DJ business out of there. So I had 2 vehicles, and I would always park them there. And I was getting parking tickets every single day.
No.
Every single day. And as cocky and as arrogant as I was, I thought I was Mr. Untouchable. I would take them off and rip them in their face and throw them at them.
Oh, boy.
I didn't care.
Those come back, by the way.
I didn't care.
Oh, man.
So the constable pulls up. It's like, Judge Xavier wants to see you. We've been looking for
Tom.
you.
I know Judge Xavier.
I know Tom too. I know Tom too. And he'll never forget me.
Yeah.
Showed up, they pulled out box. Boom. Boom.
Oh, my gosh.
Boom. Just files. Brad, I swear it was about 4 boxes
Of parking tickets.
of manila folders
Oh, my gosh.
of parking tickets and warrants. $7,000 in parking tickets and warrants. Judge Xavier said, all right, Mr. Newton, here's what's going to happen. He's like, we've been looking for you for a while. I heard you've been doing your thing. You've been on the radio in Florida, South Carolina, even heard you were on television. It was torn. Like he knew everything.
Oh, yeah.
He said, you're going to give us $5,000 cash today, or you're going to sit in jail
Oh, wow.
every single day until every single parking ticket is paid off. I've been in Reading ever since.
Do you think they're going to... That's pretty funny. I didn't see that coming, actually.
I've been here ever since.
Do you think that the ticket that you have to go back is still good, or is that's done? Is that good? That's done? That's done. Okay.
It's a wrap.
You know what's really interesting? At the time you were in that building, I owned the building that Xavier's has.
Wow.
I owned that, yeah. It was a 9-unit building with Xavier's on the first floor, and I owned it while you were there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I sold it after that, but yeah, that's really... So you have not left Reading since?
Haven't left since.
Did you pay your parking tickets?
I sat in jail till they were paid off.
Did you really?
I sure did. I sat in Berks County Prison for 7 months.
What year was that?
How do you pay them when you're in prison?
2009. It's $10 a day.
Wow.
$10 a day?
$10 a day.
Holy mackerel.
Wow.
That
I
sucks.
sat in there for 7 months. Yep.
So parking tickets are for real. When they tell you not to...
It's not a game.
It's not a game, man. It's not a game.
So
Holy
yeah,
mackerel.
so then I got out of there, came home, tried to rekindle things with my wife at the time. That didn't work out. I ended up meeting somebody else, stayed with her for a couple years. That didn't work out. Started drinking again, got another DUI while I was with this other young lady. Lived at the Y for about 3 months. Went to court, did 5 days in jail, did the whole thing with that. And then after that relationship ended, actually right before that relationship started, because I'm getting ahead of myself, when I got out of prison from the parking tickets, I want to say 4 months after I got out of prison, I found my father.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I found him on Facebook.
Wow.
So I always knew my father's name.
Yeah.
I always knew what he looked like. I had a picture of him.
Oh wait, I knew who. Is it Bobby? No.
Bobby Newton was my grandfather.
That's your grandfather.
Everybody thinks he's my dad. No,
Okay.
That's what I always thought.
I always thought it was your dad.
I always thought he was
So
your dad.
It's your grandfather.
Bobby was my grandfather.
Got it.
So Bobby Newton and Shirley Newton had Bonnie Newton,
Okay.
which was my mom.
Okay, got it. Got it.
So yeah, he was my grandpa, but he always called me son.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to look young for the ladies.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I get that. So you meet your dad. What did you meet? You met him
Oh yeah. So
How'd that go? Good?
It went very well because at that time I had forgiven him. I had forgiven my mom.
Gotcha.
I had forgiven myself. So there was forgiveness in my heart. And my higher power, who I choose to call God, said, "Okay, you're ready now.
Yeah.
You're ready. Here's your dad."
Wow.
And to this day, we have a phenomenal relationship. I have other brothers and sisters, and I have a wonderful stepmother that I get to call mom. And my dad lives in Atlanta now. And
wow, that's cool.
yeah,
that's really cool.
And I finally figured out where I got the big ass head from
From your dad.
my father.
From your father. There, it's all full circle right there, isn't it? Now you can tell your brothers, "Shut up! It's from my dad."
Yeah, well, they met him too, so they're like,
there it is. There's the big head.
There it is.
I didn't really notice your head was that big.
It's big, man.
Is it really? You have a big cranium.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all right.
Well, that genius has to fit somewhere.
Good.
to him, Hugo.
There you go,
Yeah,
Hugo.
that's
Hugo's he's good for that stuff. I'll tell you.
I love it. So after I met my dad, I got with this other female. That didn't work out after 3 years. If you remember, I told you I grew up a young man with mommy issues. Always looking for somebody to take care of me.
Yeah.
So that's when I met wife number 2.
Okay. Wife number 2.
I won't tell you what her name was, but you probably know her.
I knew who it was.
Okay, very good.
Yes, I knew who it was.
She's in the same field as you.
Yes.
And that is when my life changed forever. Because I went into this situation knowing that, this is not healthy, but I didn't care because I just thought about me and how this person could take care of me and what I could get out of it.
Oh, there you are, back again to that.
Yeah. So after knowing her for about 3 months, we made this conscientious decision to get married on my birthday, April 12th of 2014.
Okay.
Leading up to that point and after that, constant arguments, constant fights, lots of drinking, and accusing, and all kinds of stuff. And then in September 27th of 2014, that, my brother, is when the rock bottom hit.
That was
Hamilton.
The rock bottom.
That was the rock bottom. To preface it, her and I got into an Ike and Tina situation, if you will.
Yes.
And I'm not going to sit here and say who was right and who was wrong.
Yeah.
All I can talk about is the part that I played in it.
Sure.
And the part
Take ownership.
And the part that I played in it was I should have left, and I should not have participated in any of it.
Yeah.
I should have left.
Yep.
But I didn't.
Yep.
And the cops came and arrested me the next day. She went to the hospital and they arrested me and said, you're being charged with felony 1, aggravated assault. I was facing up to 20 years.
Oof.
Okay. I've had DUI and, parking tickets, whatever. But you talking felony 1, aggravated assault. This is something completely different. So it was all over the internet, which I'm sure you've seen. It was horrible. And everybody that was in my corner turned their back on me. They were like, "We're done with you, bro.
Oh, wow.
We don't care what the story was. We don't care. All we know is that you're in jail for this.
Yeah.
We're done." And for a while I was kicking and screaming and I'm like, but I didn't do anything, but I didn't do anything, but I didn't do anything. And then the message of Alcoholics Anonymous was brought into the prison, just like the Word of God message was brought into the prison when my mother was in prison.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's when it hit me. That's when it really hit me that Hamilton is the problem. For the first time in my life, I was able to look myself in the mirror and say, "You're the problem.
Yeah. Wow.
You're the problem. You're the reason why you're here. So whatever you're going to do from this moment on, if you're going to change one thing, that one thing you got to change is everything." And that's what I did. So I started freeing myself while I was in prison. I got myself a mentor and I was going to all the AA meetings while I was in prison, and I just kept myself involved, and I was reading, and before you know it, it was time for court, and I owned all my stuff. I said, "Listen, I have a problem. And I talked about my alcoholism and my drug use, and I talked about me. And I said, I promise you that I will get the help that I need. Please give me another chance. I didn't try to fight it because initially when I went in there, I'm taking this to trial. I didn't. Nah.
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
So they dropped it to the lesser charge, which is simple assault, misdemeanor. And from there, I went to Camp Joy, which is right in Leesport, owned by the YMCA. And I stayed at Camp Joy for about 7 months.
Wow.
7 months. And I didn't DJ. I didn't do any personal training because at the time I was a personal trainer too. Mm-hmm. I had to find a regular job.
Yeah.
And nobody would hire me, Brad.
No, of course.
Nobody would hire me because I was overqualified. Because all I've ever done was radio and spin records.
Yeah.
And worked at Chess King.
That's right.
That should have been on that's a good thing.
Yes.
The Chess King on your resume. I mean, come on.
Yeah. So my sponsor at the time told me, your job is your recovery right now. Your job is to stay clean and work on yourself. So I got a sponsor. I used a sponsor. I worked the steps. I got mentors. I went to church. I went to meetings. I went to therapy. I went to group therapy, one-on-one counseling.
Yeah.
I did everything they told me I was supposed to do because I made that promise to God. I said, I will do whatever it takes. And I became obsessed with change.
Yeah.
Because I got sick and tired of feeling like, why? What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
I see all these other individuals. They're married. They're successful. They're great husbands. They're great fathers. They're productive members of society. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me is I had nobody to show me.
Yeah.
And I had a spiritual malady inside of me that was taking over that I needed to arrest and keep there. I couldn't get a job. So then I finally went to Auto Spa of Wyomissing.
Oh, yeah.
Because, Irv Bressler was that's my
Irv's
man.
he's a good guy.
Good man, Irv.
Yeah, he's a good man.
And
his kids, too.
Yes, yes. So I used to play basketball.
Yeah, Brad and Brandon?
Played basketball with Brad. We were buddies. And that was like my go-to. Like if I needed a job, I would just go there.
Yeah.
And I just said, you know what? I'm just going to go. And I was 41 at the time, Brad.
Wow.
$7.25 an hour. It was February.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm washing cars at Auto Spa while I'm missing.
Wow.
I just wanted a job. I didn't care. Okay.
Yeah, well, it didn't matter. At that point, to me, your health and your sobriety and not being in jail. I think once you're in jail for that long too, the sense of freedom is a payment enough. Yeah. I mean, I would think just being free would be enough for me at that point.
Yeah.
And free of the alcohol and the drugs and the all the addictions and things. It's just, I can't imagine that. But that's where you came from. That's what you know.
Yeah. And I just wanted to become fully self-supporting.
Yeah.
And just start being able to take care of myself. I didn't care what that looked like. All the while I was working on myself from the inside.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I got a phone call from my pastor at the time. He said, "Hey man, let's go meet for brunch." We went to the hitching post.
Oh yeah.
And we met for brunch.
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, man, are you still looking for a job?" I said, "Yeah, I am, actually." He said, "You ever hear of the Hope Rescue Mission?" I said, "Yeah." And I was embarrassed because I've heard of it. It's right in my neighborhood that I grew up.
It's off 6th Street or something like that.
6th and Greenwich.
Yeah.
But I never went in there. Never went in, okay?
It's a good place.
He said, "Well, they're looking." He said, "Are you good with computers?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, they're looking for a truck dispatcher for their thrift store."
Oh, cool.
Here's the gentleman's number, Robert Turchi. Give him a call. Gave him a call. Told me to come in for an interview. Went there, took a bus there from Camp Joy into Leesport, walked down 6th Street in the snow. Mm-hmm. See, because when you want it, you want it. You'll do whatever it takes. Yeah. And leading up to that point, Brad, I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I was like, I'm 41 years old. I can't DJ right now. What am I going to do? Like, where's my life headed at this point?
Yeah.
All I've ever done was spin records and got behind the microphone.
Yeah.
I've never done anything else.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? Brad, I walked up those 19 steps and I opened the door and I saw all those brothers in there and I looked around and I said, "Oh my God." I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
This is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is where I belong.
Right.
I need to be here.
Yep.
I need to be here sharing my story and my testimony, helping them, and me helping them is going to help me at the same time. So I sat down with the directors and they showed me around. And then they called me back and said, "Well, you're overqualified." I was like, "Oh, man." So I went back to Auto Spa. I go. A week later, I get a call from the associate director at the time, Frank Grill. He says, Hamilton, we've thought about it, and we've got the perfect job for you. It doesn't pay much. I said, I don't care about the pay.
I just want to do, you want to feel worthy of something. Yeah.
So they offered me the job as front desk person, and what that person does the intakes of all the men that comes in, opens up chapel, shares a message, just doing exactly what I hoped I would be able to do. And I was like, I'll take it. He was like, well, it's second shift. I know you have a family. I was like, well, not really, but I'll take it. You know, I'm trying to build that back.
Yeah.
All the while, I'm still with her.
Yeah.
We're trying to work it out now.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Marriage counseling. Oh, yeah.
Didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. We tried to work it out.
Okay.
You know, and I was like, you know what? Maybe it was me.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
That didn't last long.
Yeah.
Okay. That didn't last long. Which I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah.
I'm just glad it didn't.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad I was in sound mind and had enough sense, and I was just at a place in my recovery and had the right people around me that could get me away from that. So yeah, I ended up getting that job. From there, I moved up the ranks, and I had an interest in becoming a certified recovery coach.
Cool.
Certified through the state of Pennsylvania. The Hope Rescue Mission said, we'll pay for it.
Oh, great.
I took all the classes. I took the tests.
So do you still do that?
I don't actively.
Okay.
But I can at any time.
Yeah, right,
because I'm still certified, still active. So I started doing that. And then I went from an hourly position to a salaried position. I became a case manager, and then went from case manager to director of case management of the Hope Rescue Mission.
Awesome.
And then I stayed there for about 3 years, and then I made a lateral move to Easy Does It Incorporated.
Yep.
I worked there for about 2 years, and then it was at that point God said, I think it's time for you to
be a DJ again.
I think you're ready. I think you're ready to do what you were put on this earth.
Which amazes me. So was that hard getting back into it?
Yes.
Like without this. No?
No.
Because that was so distant?
See, here's the thing. I've tried easier, softer, gentler ways. When I went to rehab for the first time, which was June 25th, 2008. That's the first time I went to rehab. I was like, well, maybe if I just sip a little something and I don't sniff, I'll be all right.
Right.
But eventually, it would just open that door again.
Yep.
Okay. I had to get to a place where I had to say, under no circumstances, Hamilton, Vidal, Newton is not wired to drink.
Right.
Like a diabetic is not wired to eat a 12-pack of donuts.
Right.
Okay? Because when I drink, my mind and my body responds in a negative way.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally makes sense. Absolutely.
And I had to be okay with that. So for the longest time, I struggled with that, especially when I met my father. Because when I met my father, I was sober. And I was like, wait a minute. I want to have a beer with my pop.
Oh, wow.
You know, dad's
abundant.
Yeah, you know, dad's a Eagles fan. I'm a Cowboys fan. Right?
Sorry about that.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it, Brad. So I want to have a beer with my dad. He's like, are you sure? You sure? Yeah. Had that drink with him. We had a great time. Flew back to Pennsylvania. Got my third DUI 2 weeks after.
Oh my God. Yeah, you just can't do it.
It's not for me. So when I started DJing, again, I was already sold out on the fact that I cannot drink, and was okay with it.
It's funny too. Do you find that doing the DJ thing now and doing the voiceovers and all the things that you're doing now, which is really amazing, and getting through all that, the fact that you're alive is amazing too. Do you enjoy it differently than you did before?
Oh my God, yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like before you had chemicals and you had drinking, and I drank, but is it different for you?
It is. It's better.
Yeah,
it's better. Because I'm genuinely
you're present.
I'm present, and I'm genuinely connecting with the people, especially when I do weddings.
Oh yeah.
Which is my sweet spot.
You get to watch them all get hammered.
Yes.
Making jerks out of themselves and stuff like that. Yeah, it's probably funny.
And it doesn't bother me.
No.
It doesn't bother me.
Good.
But now here's what's crazy, Brad. I could be laying in bed watching TV by myself and all of a sudden say, I could drink a beer right now.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Now that's weird.
Yeah.
To me, it is.
Yeah.
See, to me, it would be, I would think if I was going out with my friends drinking, that's when I would be like, oh man, I got to have a drink.
And I'm
jonesing.
And there could be nothing wrong. Life could be good.
You just want to.
I could see a beer commercial and be like, man, I could go for one of those right now. And
Yeah.
the second I say that, I pick up the phone and call somebody.
Do you really?
Oh yeah,
Sponsor.
Say, yo, listen, sponsor whoever.
Yeah.
Say, hey, I just want to let you know this is what I said.
Wow. Even in your head.
Absolutely.
Wow. That's cool.
Absolutely.
That's very cool.
Absolutely.
Amazing. So, I am just blown away. This is definitely the longest podcast we have ever done, and it's okay because I think we can keep going. And there's some other things I want to go through.
Let's do it.
I want to say congrats for getting through all that and for where you are today. And I hope your sobriety stays where it is.
It ain't going nowhere.
I hope.
How many days is it?
Yeah. Do you know how many?
How
days?
long?
Days?
Yeah.
Years.
I mean, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Hugo, you almost got your ass beat, I think. First time ever on the show.
I haven't had a drink, drug, pill, or fix since September 27th, 2014. So I just celebrated.
That was that 27th day. That was that night.
Yes.
That was the bad night.
Yes.
I see, yeah.
So September 27th of 2024 will be 10 years.
Wow.
Okay.
Good job, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Good job. And you know what's amazing is now, and I'm just going to have to go right to this. I want to kind of segue to this. Now you heard all that stuff about what he has done, and I'm going to just quickly play a little bit of what he's doing now.
Bringing some friends.
Still going bad on you anyway.
105.3 WDAS is bringing you Anita Baker.
Yes, that's him. Not that. That's Anita Baker.
Anita Baker. At the Hard Rock Hotel Casino, November 23rd in AC. Listen all week long for your chance to win tickets. Columbus is home of the
So that's what you're doing now, among other things.
Yes.
Which is pretty amazing that you've gotten through all that. The voiceover thing is newer.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
How long have you been doing that?
So I've been cutting commercials while the cool thing about radio is that when you're a radio personality,
Yeah.
you naturally have to voice commercials.
Gotcha.
So when you come in, there'll be scripts in your mailbox. Like, hey, I need this cut by such and such a day.
Yep.
And that's when it started for me. So I would start reading scripts and I would listen to other commercials on their different inflections and deliveries and things of that nature. And I just started getting better at it, not thinking, maybe I could do voiceover. I just figured, I'm just a commercial voice guy. And
for the radio station.
For the radio station. And then people started hitting me up like, hey, can you cut this spot for me? Can you voice this commercial?
Yeah.
Can you voice this commercial? And then my wife, Candace, bought me a microphone for Christmas. It was like, well, why don't you dive into this? Why don't you give it a shot? So she bought me a microphone, and I started cutting, commercials. I got a PV board. This is long before the Rodecaster.
Oh yeah.
Got a little PV board, and threw some fan and power on that bad boy, and had the little foamed up closet. And
no way.
And
so that's how it started.
That's how.
And
it
now
started.
you're doing it for a lot of different people. You're doing it for like different stations. I mean, I saw all kinds of voiceover stuff that you're doing. I listened to it, and you're very good at it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's the diverse, like how diverse you can be with your voice, and how you can sound like, one person here, one person there. I mean, you're just really good at it.
Thank you.
And I consider myself kind of a critic with that stuff, and you're really good at it. And I appreciate you. So let's talk about some other things here. Let's go through. So you're back into DJing and all that stuff. The voiceovers. You had done beatboxing at one point. You had said, right?
Yeah.
Can you still do that?
Let's hear it.
Oh, you go.
Let's hear it.
You know
you want to do it.
Hamilton. Everybody
It's
wants
been a while.
to hear it.
Come on, let's just hear it.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. That was great. That was awesome. I had to get you to do that because I was like, when I saw that on there, I'm thinking, are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's me. And also, I have on here that you did tour dates with Dave Chappelle.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
What's he like?
So, a super cool guy, man.
Yeah.
Super cool guy. So, Dave Chappelle, when he first launched the Chappelle Show, this was back in 2003. I was in Charleston, South Carolina, working at the radio station at the time. And the operations manager said to me, hey, Dave Chappelle is in town, and he's looking for somebody to DJ and open up the show. He's doing a stand-up act at I forgot the name of the place in Charleston at the time. And he was like, you're the perfect guy for it.
Amazing.
And I didn't get paid for it. I didn't care.
Oh, no, I wouldn't either.
But yeah, I DJ'd for Dave Chappelle.
That's unbelievable.
This is when he was promoting the Chappelle Show, and I went in the back, and the big Chappelle Show bus was in the back, and he came out on a skateboard with a blunt in his mouth, and hung out for a little bit, and I smoked a little weed with him, and that was it, man. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
That was an amazing experience.
Yeah, I bet. So then I'll tell you what, I want to know, where are you going now? Like, what do you see as your future? I mean, you had that whole, interesting past, and you made it through a lot of difficulty, a lot of challenges. Like, what do you see for your future? Like, when you look ahead, what do you see?
I see me leaving a legacy for my family and my children, and just being the best version of myself every single year, just continuing to evolve. I don't have an expiration date on anything or an end goal. What I do is I set goals, and then whatever that goal is, I lock in on that process, and I become obsessed with that process.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
And 9 times out of 10, I'll exceed that goal, and then I'll set another one.
Right. Very cool.
And then continue from there. Very cool.
Well, I want to say I appreciate you coming on today. Definitely the longest show, but I'll tell you what, definitely worth being the longest show, because that was just great. I mean, I'm just blown away from like what you've been through. You've been a friend for many years, even though we don't see each other, but we correspond on Facebook and different places. Oh, can you do one thing for me?
Yes.
Since you're a voiceover guy and I didn't know this, can you do like something for this show here?
Yeah, sure.
Let's give it a shot. Go ahead.
The Brad Weisman Show. From real estate to real life and everything in between. And now, your host, Brad Weisman.
I love it. We might have to replace that. We might hire you now. I think I'm going to hire you to do that.
Let's do it.
Let's do that, because then I can say it's somebody local. That'd be great.
Somebody you know. I'm not local. I'm global.
You're not local, but you're somebody I know. All right, buddy. Great talking to you. Thanks for sharing. I know
Thank you, bro.
It was tough at times, but thanks for sharing. All right, that's it. Thanks for being here. Thursdays at 7 p.m. Watch us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere you can find us. We're there. 7 p.m. on Thursdays. All right. Thanks a lot.